In this episode, I want to talk to you about laning and specifically what you do before the creep spawn. So you have 90 seconds until the creep spawn, and even after the creep spawn you have like another 30 seconds until they meet in the lane. So there's basically 2 minutes of dead time. A lot of people just kind of stand AFK or wait for the game to spawn, especially in like public games. People don't really bother too much with doing anything. But I think it's still important for me to show you a few things that you can do. The first thing and the most important thing I think is to ward for yourself. If there's a ward to buy in the shop, I always recommend that you buy it. It's more useful that they're out on the map, that they're just sitting in the store like doing nothing. At some points in the game maybe you should let your support handle this, but at least at minute 0 it's not very complicated. I think you wanna understand like where you wanna put the ward and why. In this game I know that I'm gonna be laning against Arc Warden and I'm gonna be laning against a Sand King. And I think the idea we had was probably to try and safe lane a little bit. My Nix told me that he wanted to like gank these heroes top. I think Wisp Legion is a very strong lane, so he thought like maybe we can kill them and we'll pull ahead. Because of that I also bought boots. I know that I want to pull waves, and because I have boots I know that if I have vision of their courier I can run around and kill their couriers, which means that they're out of region. So that's like half of the reason I put this ward. The other half is I want to see when the support is pulling. If I can see when the support is pulling, I can run over and stop it. It's very hard for me to fight 2v1, so I know like if they pull, it's really bad. But if I can pull, it's really good. So even before the creeps have spawned, I know we're not fighting any bounty runes because my heroes are going top. So in some games, if you look at their heroes and you look at your heroes, and you can think like, I think we'll really kill them, or we're a lot stronger than them. You can tell your supports to come over to you and help you get the bounty runes. But in a game like this, I know I'm a lot weaker than them. So I'm gonna like poke a little bit, but I see, or like he saw the Sand King coming and I see the Arc Warden. Because I know Sand King is not here, I go for this rune. Unfortunately I don't get it. But it's like, the mindset is important to understand that I don't want to fight them, so instead we take runes top. Another thing you can do specifically with Doom is you can eat a creep right away in order to push the lane in. I know because I'm 2v1, I need to just run there right away as well. It's hard to get into position if they're expecting you to come. So sometimes like if I'm playing Axe and I want to cut waves, you can, even before the creep spawn, you can run like in here and hide. If you want to pull the wave or something, you can also start here. You can hide in the trees somewhere and pull the second wave. Not always that you need to go for bounty runes. Even sometimes I think in some games, not in this one though, you can go for like a level 1 kill. It's very common for us to try and do this when, let's say instead of playing AA, he's playing Oracle, and instead of playing Nyx Assassin, he's playing Earth Spirit. We could maybe kill this Arc Warden in level 1. I can tell my team like, I'm gonna go back all the way to bounty runes. I can tell my team like, I'll take only this rune and I'll go back and block my wave a lot. Our waves will meet like over here and we can get an easy first blood. And then after that he can just TP back to his lane and the game continues as normal. Some of the most important things to think about is where you're gonna be laning and who you're gonna be laning against. In some games you should expect that the enemy will have a lot stronger of a lane than you, and that maybe your team will try and safe lane, or maybe my support will rotate out very early. It can be good to understand like, if you want to buy boots and what you want to be doing. If you want to be fighting for bounties, I think it's the second thing. I think you should think about that, like even when you're all the way over here, you want to think like, do I want to fight the bounty rune? Do I just want to try and take this rune? Sometimes even you can try and sneak a rune. Like sometimes I hide all the way, I just go into these trees, and then at the last second you walk in from behind and try and take a rune, because they don't expect it. The third thing I think that's important to think about is if you're going to get killed level 1 or not. A lot of games the enemy team can start with 2 supports here and try and zone you from the wave, or they try and kill you level 1. Maybe they have like a Ogre Mirana combo, they can easily stun and arrow you. You need to like understand that they have a lot of kill threat on you, so you need to play safe for the first creep wave and see where the enemy heroes are. If you see that they have 2 heroes showing on the top lane, great, like you're good. But if you see that maybe this Legion commander is alone, and maybe instead of Wisp we have a Mirana here, I need to be really scared because the Sand King and Mirana could kill me level 1. So instead of maybe playing aggressive and pulling waves, I'll just sit in the trees and wait for the Mirana to show, and eventually if he never shows, I know I'm being tri-laned, I'll just let my carry free farm and I'll do my best not to die. When it comes to buying wards, I suggest that if there's wards in the shop, you should always buy one. But in a lot of games, I don't think you need a ward. It's more like, if nobody's buying it, you might as well. If the other 2 people in your team takes the ward and places it, the most common thing is mid ward. I think a safe lane ward is also very good for your team to see like if they're gonna gank your carry or not. I think that vision is important, especially like in games when you want to play defensive. I think if you think you're gonna get ganked, it's really good to have wards. If you know that you need to pull waves or you need to stop the enemy team from pulling, it's really good to have wards. If you're the one playing aggressive, however, it's not as important because you're going to have information on the enemy, or rather you don't really care too much about what the enemy is doing. You know that you're the one who want to play aggressive. I think then it's better to save the wards and maybe just put it on the rune, or you can save it and know that when I want to push the tower, I'll put a ward behind, like, because then we're going to push the tower and then I want to see if they're defending with more heroes. In this game we have 2 wards even for my safe lane, because this Nyx knows he wants to leave me alone at times, and I know that it's very easy for me to die to Sanking and Orc Warden. So I have 1 ward from behind that can see if they're coming in with Sanking. We can see if Nature's Prophet is tipping in. This hero is very good at ganking in the early game. I also have a ward over here from the minute 0 that lets me see if he's pulling, if he's running away. I can tell my mid hero Sanking is coming mid. Right now we see him on the ward, he's picking up this bounty rune and he's running mid. So even though the ward is on my lane, I know that because we are weak, it's easy for them to rotate. So by having this ward, I can tell my mid laner to play really safe, or he can see it himself, and we can defend this tower. In this case, he ends up not dying, and we almost get a kill in the natures. But the biggest thing is that we probably managed to defend this tower and get this catapult off the tower. If you lose this tower at 5 minutes, it's it sets up your game to be a lot slower, and it's a lot harder to play the game from that point. I mean, the thing with these wards is basically it's wards that they help you a little bit, and it's wards that you don't have anywhere else to place them, so you're just going to place them in order to get a little bit of an edge in the lane. Maybe you will see the carry when he goes back and salves. Maybe you will see that the support is not laning, so you can play extra aggressive. It's basically a ward that doesn't really give any information except for helping you win the lane. It's going to give you a few more last hits. You will know a little bit better if the support is harassing you or not. You will know if somebody's tipping in to gank you. It's like a ward that is just like a little bonus that you can place. You can place it here. You can place it a little bit further up. If you're playing Enigma, for example, it's a very good ward to have somewhere here, and you can cut on all the trees. Also, something to think about when you ward is that if you can cut trees, you can place it in better positions. But I would still recommend that most of the wards you place is on the side that can see the pull camps, and that you can see the couriers for your position 4. These 2 I think are the most impactful wards. Placing it here in the middle of the lane is good sometimes, but usually it's just for last hitting and pressuring a little bit more.